Welcome back. I have to say, the ending of the Edmonton-Ottawa game was very entertaining, and I enjoyed that greatly. We'll get to it. Not everything I watched tonight was equally as entertaining, and we'll get to that. But we'll start things off first with the East games, of course, and then work our way to the Western games. As I always go in chronological order, it's just easier that way. Dallas in against Columbus tonight, and for Columbus, it was a rough debut for Laine and for him with the Jackets. But I will say this, can't judge a guy in his first game. And for Columbus, they're now 4-4-3. It's been a rough go. And again, the overtime and shootout losses will kind of mask this start that's been kind of slow. Nothing to mask this tonight. Columbus reverse retro night. This was the 500th game for Boone Jenner as well. And I like the reverse retros. There was a couple of reverse retros tonight. Honestly, they're great. There's a reason I have all of them. They all look really nice. And Detroit, it's a nice practice jersey. And the Islanders made a nice third jersey, right? But the shots were 3-0 for Dallas at 3.5 minutes. Columbus was 8-0 in their last 8 against the Dallas Stars. That started to change when Pavelski scores from Klingberg and Benn at 3 minutes and 33 seconds. And interestingly enough, Laine's on the ice for that one, so he was a -1 at that point. And he was out playing the guy at the point, which was Klingberg. It's a mismatch. And Pavelski, again, he is the master of tipping those pucks into the net right now. The Stars then pressed again at 8 minutes. Columbus have been held to 5 shots. The Stars, really, really good defense in this one thus far. Korpisalo denied hints. Late Columbus power play, and then with 4.8 seconds left, there's a double minor for Columbus that results in a Stars power play. What's interesting with that was they went to replay on that. And I thought a replay was just for a 5-minute, but I guess it's for a 4-minute too. So we go to the second period with Dallas on the power play. During the first 2 minutes of that power play, Pavelski scores from Klingberg at 49 seconds. So they're still on power play for the second 2. They don't score on that. Columbus pressure, they drew themselves a power play, and they scored on theirs. It's Jones getting a very overdue first goal of the year from Roslovic and Foligno at 5:41. So see, like I said, you add Roslovic to that power play and it scores. That's what I said. Yep, that's it. But it lasts 17 seconds, and then Dallas restores the 2-goal lead. It's Ben from Pavelski at 5:58. Then there's a power play for the Stars, and it's Laine with the high stick that gets that power play for Dallas. And on the power play, they score again. So that lethal power play was back for Dallas tonight after taking a couple of games off against Carolina. It's Gurianov that scores on the power play from Radulov and Hintz at 11 minutes and 30 seconds. And then about 2.5 minutes later, Foxa finally gets on the board too from Como and Cogliano at 13:59. And Elvis Merzlikins goes into the net. It's a 5-1 lead at that point. And then Columbus gets a power play. And I have to say that after the goalie change, it had the exact effect you wanted it to, which is the play started to change and go into the favor of Dallas, or of Columbus against Dallas. So it might leave you wondering as a fan, why not pull him after the 4th goal to try to make that switch earlier? Early in the third period, Grigorenko scores from Robinson at 3:40. Very nice play, very nice goal. Robinson, fantastic pass from behind the net. Jamie Benn then hits a crossbar, but the Columbus Blue Jackets make it close. Kukan scores from Grigorenko and Gavrikov at 7:23. So Grigorenko is starting to pick things up. That made it 5-3. They did pull the goalie with 3 minutes left, which allowed Radulov to score the empty netter at 18:19 from Pavelski and Benn. Joe Pavelski, 4 points. 4 points. And Benn, bunch of points for him too. And I have no idea. I have no idea how Pavelski's doing this, but Dallas wins 6-3. They go to 5-1-1. Columbus drops to 4-4-3. And the Central looks kind of top-heavy right now when you look at the standings. Carolina, Tampa, Dallas look like they could run away with it. Florida right there with them. That could be your top 4 right away. Shots were 13-6 in favor of Dallas in the first, 14-8 Dallas in the second, 12-6 in favor of Columbus in the third. Final shots 33-26 in favor of the Stars. Power plays, Dallas goes 2 for 3. Columbus goes 1 for 3. Ottinger saved 23 out of 26. He gets his second win. Korpisalo, 18 saves on 23 shots. He's replaced by Merzlikins, who saved all 9 shots in relief. So we'll see what happens in the next game. But so far, if you're a Dallas fan, things look pretty darn good. Next up, well, Vancouver. Here's the thing. So Vancouver comes out of Montreal, and this was another rough night. Now, is it their best game they played in Montreal? Yes. Did they lose it? Also yes. And now they get 3 in Toronto. So this could get a lot worse. And there's a part of me saying, you know what? Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. If they lose those 3 in Toronto, you can't have this mediocrity argument, which is, well, they win a couple here and then they lose a couple here. Well, overall, they'll be okay. I would actually prefer to see it kind of bottom out and force some changes. And whatever those changes are, they need to happen. This was game 1000 for Weber, as I said earlier today. Victory over the Canucks. I said it in the News of the Day video, so I knew this was coming. Shots were 4-1 Vancouver at 4 minutes. Much stronger game early for the Canucks. Power play then for Montreal. It becomes a 5-on-3 for 48 seconds, but the Canucks killed it off. And then it's Anderson from Sherratt and Suzuki at 13:53, and poor coverage led to that goal. Just the defensive coverage wasn't where he wanted to be, and Suzuki's on the board again with a point. The Habs then pressed for another, and the momentum shifted. And then it's a turnover, and Suzuki to Kulak to Anderson, and at 17 minutes, Josh Anderson gets his second goal of the period. So it's 2-0 Montreal after 1, and it is at that point that I wrote those records on the board. Because I said, nope, it's just not happening tonight. Second period, Habs get another power play. The Canucks just didn't have an answer to that stage until Antoine Roussel scores from Beagle and Hughes at 4 minutes and 20 seconds. So that's Roussel's first of the season. Allen then denied Horvat. There's a power play for the Canucks for 42 seconds before Pearson makes it a 4-on-4. Toffoli loves playing against Vancouver, always has. He now has 9 goals on the season, 8 of them against Vancouver. He scores from Edmondson and Petrie at 12:29, and then he scores again from Kotkaniemi and Weber at 15:47. So Shea Weber on the board in his 1000th game. Kudos to him. Late, there's a Canucks power play. It bleeds over into the third period, and they score on it. So it's Pettersson scoring from Miller and Hughes at 53 seconds. So the good news is Elias Pettersson scores a goal here. Miller with the assist, but that made it 4-2. Canucks get another power play, and they were up 7-1 in the shots at the half. They pulled the goalie with 3 minutes left. They did, to their credit, score to make it a 1-goal game. Pearson from Besser at 19:18. They then got Demko out again, but with the empty net this time, Montreal doesn't miss it. It's Petrie from Toffoli at 19:54, so Toffoli with 3 points tonight, and he's going to hate to see the Canucks go. Final score is 5-3 for Montreal. They go to 7-1-2. Vancouver drops to 6-7. The fact that they've played more games than everybody else in their division, the fact that now they find themselves below the playoff line after tonight's results, these are both worrying in what is a shortened season. A very cramped shortened season. And for Montreal, they've now played them 5 out of 9 times. They got 4 more games left. We'll see if they win any of them. And I'm not saying that to be sarcastic. I'm just realistic. Montreal knows how to beat Vancouver. Montreal outshot them 11-10 in the first. Vancouver outshoots them 16-15 in the second, and in the third, outshoots them 13-7. They did outshoot them 39-33. Power plays: Vancouver 1 for 3, Montreal 0 for 4. Demko, first start of the week last week, tough start this week. 28 saves on 32 shots, and Jake Allen 36 saves on 39 shots for him. So, yeah, rough night for Vancouver, and we'll see what happens in Toronto. The next 3 are in Toronto. If they lose all 3, they drop to 6-10, and then we have a whole other discussion to be had. Next up, Carolina. Carolina continues what has been an excellent start for them. Chicago is staying in enough games, and they're not dropping so far below 500 that points-wise they're finding themselves out of this. They've only won 3 out of 11, but they've got 4 points in extra time. So points-wise, they're definitely staying in this. But Svechnikov scored from Stahl and Fogle at 3:51. Great pass by Jordan Stahl, who might be playing offensively the best hockey I've seen him play in the last, I'll say, 3 or 4 years. Since coming back from protocol, realizing that he was the initial exposure that caused the team to be short so many players, he's had a certain responsibility in this, and he's done very well. Reimer then denied Kubalik. Chicago gets a power play. They don't score on it. And then it's Fogle And another great pass by Jordan Stahl on that one. That's at 14:46, made it 2-0 for Carolina. And I was thinking, well, yeah, they're the better team so far, and Chicago, while Chicago was up on the shots, I did think Carolina had the better opportunities. But there's a power play for the Hawks, and they score on it. This is where the momentum shifts. Kurashev from Suter and Kubalik at 17:58. Kubalik's racking up the assists. He's not getting the goals, but he's racking up the helpers. And then Kane from DeBrincat at 19:42. And watching this with the Carolina announcers, they kept saying DeBrincat, which was it's one of those things that, again, I used to say DeBrincat as well, but when you're doing this and you got 31 fan bases trying to tell you how to pronounce every name, you learn pretty quick. DeBrincat. Second period, 2-2 tie, and I was thinking this could be a really high-scoring game. It wasn't. Shots were 4-2 for the Canes at 6 minutes. Reimer stopped a good DeBrincat shot there. Slavin then was defending DeBrincat out. So really good game for DeBrincat tonight. There was a scrum after Reimer made a save on DeHaan. Pesce took a pretty rough-looking hit, but he stayed in the game. Kane with a backhand that just missed. Backhand is so dangerous. And then there was a last-minute chance for the Hawks as well. Patrick Kane involved in most of it. Patrick Kane is simply fantastic. Third period, the Hawks press 2.5 minutes in. They don't get a goal, and then Carolina does. Trocheck scores from Niederreiter at 6 minutes and 50 seconds. That's Niederreiter's first assist of the year. Aho then pushed for another, but it is Chicago tying it again. Strome from DeBrincat and Kubalik at 13:21. Nice goal by Strome. And we've got another tie game on our hands. Lankinen robbed Aho, and then, to follow it up, he also robbed Svechnikov in close. So both of the big star goal scorers for Carolina are denied by Lankinen, who ended up having a good game after what was kind of a rough start in that first period. Heavy Canes pressure, but we go to overtime. Puck control for the Hawks early. Big saves then by Lankinen in that overtime as Carolina put on a ton of pressure. Lankinen just fantastic again. 47.3 seconds left. The Canes call a timeout. It is unsuccessful in terms of whatever they plan getting a goal, so we go to a shootout. In the shootout, who gets the winner? It's Svechnikov, because of course it is. So Carolina, 4-3 shootout winners over Chicago. Shots were 15-9 Chicago in the first, 10-9 Carolina in the second, and the third. Carolina really took over 17-6, and then the shots were 5-3 in the overtime in favor of Carolina. Final shots 41-33 in favor of the Canes. Power plays, Carolina goes 0 for 1. Chicago goes 0 for 2. And the number of power plays tonight seemed to drop. And we'll see now that we're in February if we see a precipitous drop now that we're into the second month of the season. Because usually power plays will start to drop. Whether that's players picking up on what's allowed and what isn't, or referees stop calling it so tightly, we'll see, right? Reimer saved 30 out of 33 at his end. Lankinen saved 38 out of 41. Lankinen's numbers are pretty darn good. He's a good goaltender, and I'm glad to see him getting this opportunity. He has been very, very good for them so far. Arizona and St. Louis. Arizona, this is one of those rarities where they get 3 goals and they're not successful. They dropped to 3-5-1 tonight, while St. Louis goes to 7-2-1. And as I said, Chicago 3-4-4. All those, what they, whatever you want to call it, those extra points come in handy. They now equal basically 2 wins. But for Arizona, tough result because they played pretty well out of the gate. Early Blues power play had 0 shots. The shots were actually 4-1 for the Coyotes 6 minutes in. Bennington looked really good tonight. Dvorak would score from Pitlick and Kajula at 10:15. So Arizona gets through that wall that was Bennington tonight. And brutal start for the Blues. At that stage, I think they only had a couple of shots. And Arizona was a much better team. Coyotes were doing a good job of shot blocking as well. And then it's Hoffman scoring from Parayko and Blais at 17:25. This might have been Hoffman's best game as a Blue. You guys can let me know if you thought it was. It's up there. Nice to see him get on the board. So yeah, the Blues get a power play, and then heavy pressure by that power play. They had a lot of opportunities. The Blues power play doesn't score tonight. It's off to a rough start in terms of its percentage, but I thought they had some good looks tonight. Second period shots were favoring the Blues at this stage. Thomas had a chance that trickled wide, but then Falk went through, 3 guys? Went through 3 Coyotes. I knew I'd written that down on the board. From Blais and Hoffman at 3:54. So Hoffman's second point of the game, Sammy Blais' second point of the game, And beautiful goal by Falk. I think it's his mustache. I think the mustache helps him get these goals. Coyotes then get a power play, and then they had a minute and a half of 5-on-3, which it happened tonight in a few games. Those 5-on-3s. It's almost as if it happens so much in hockey now that teams are better at defending it than they might have been, say, 10 years ago. But on the power play, Dvorak scores from Schmaltz and Kessel at 6:25. The Blues then had a 2-on-1 that misfired, but Dunn ends up scoring from Schwartz and Kyrou at 11:45. Vince Dunn has silenced any rumors that St. Louis would even think about trading him. There's no chance. I think benching him and those rumors coming out was the best thing that's happened to Vince Dunn in his career. He has looked fantastic since that happened. The Blues then get a power play, so they come out of that second period with a tidy lead of 3-2. Third period, Blues get the early power play. It's a 4-minute. Perron then takes a penalty, which makes it a 4-on-4 for 2 minutes. And O'Reilly scores from Kyrou and Parayko at 1:49. So during the 4-on-4, the Blues get a goal. And that was basically the biggest highlight, other than Arizona getting a ton of shots in that third period on Binnington and Binnington robbing him. They did pull the goalie with 3 minutes left, and they did score, though. Nick Schmaltz gets the goal from Garland and Kessel at 17:21 to make it close. They would try pulling the goalie again, but they were unable to recreate that magic, and St. Louis holds on for a 4-3 victory. Shots 12-11 in favor of St. Louis in the first, 14-7 St. Louis in the second. In the third, Arizona outshoots them 15-6. Final shots 33-32 in favor of the Coyotes. Power plays, Arizona 1-for-3, St. Louis 0-for-5. Kemper saved 28 out of 32, and Binnington saved 30 out of 33. So, pretty good game all over. I did end up enjoying that one too. I really enjoyed most of the games. Legit. And now I legit have to change the boards. All right, next up, Calgary in against Winnipeg. So, 3-5-1, 7-2-1. I already talked about the records from that previous game. So, Calgary came into Winnipeg tonight, and this is the thing with Calgary now, apparently. Let the other team have a really good first period, let them feel good about themselves, and then we'll come back at the end. This is Calgary from 2 years ago. This is exactly what the Flames did 2 years ago, and it worked a lot. But on a night like tonight, it didn't quite get there. It almost did, but it didn't quite get there. So the Flames were seeking a better start. Keep that in mind. And Riddick would deny Ehlers. The shots, though, were 6-2 for the Jets 4.5 minutes in. The Flames get a power play. During that power play, the Jets score. It's a shorthanded marker for Lewis from Appleton at 6:40. Then 30 seconds later, Forbert scores from Pionk and Kopp. And then 35 seconds after that, Calgary decides it's our turn. Tkachuk from Dubé and Lindholm at 7:45. So in a minute and 5 seconds, we have 3 goals. And then it's almost 6 minutes later when Ehlers makes it 3-1 from DeMello and Scheifele. So Ehlers continues with his hot start. The Flames then get a power play. The power plays were not a factor tonight, unless you consider going 0 for to be a factor. But coming out of that first period, it's 3-1 for the Winnipeg Jets. And then in the second period, the Flames pressed at 2 minutes, but the shots 6.5 minutes in this period were 4-2 for the Jets. Jets playing well. The Jets were giving the Flames very few chances, clogging up the center of the ice, making sure they didn't have those prime opportunities. Riddick then stopped a chance for Morrissey. After that, he made a nice save on Lowry. Things get kind of scrummy after that. The Jets went to the power play from that scrum. And then there was a short 30-second power play for the Flames because you end up with a 4-on-4 situation. And yeah, so we go to the third period, it's still 3-1. More solid defense from the Jets, but the Flames start breaking through. Brossoit stopped a shot from Backlund. They get a power play. The Jets do anyways. Things get kind of scrummy about the half, and of course, Tkachuk's in it. And Matthew Tkachuk might be involved in some of these things on the weekend, because this weekend could be fun. Tkachuk scores from Gaudreau at 10:53, because both of the Tkachuk brothers play better when they're emotionally invested in the game. And I put on the board another comeback with a question mark. Like, is this it? Because it looked like that's what we're going to see. The Jets were going to fold, and we're going to have another overtime game in this one. Power play for the Flames, but a really solid penalty kill by the Jets there. The Flames call a timeout with 1 minute and 43 seconds left. They go to a 6-on-5, and Brossoit absolutely robs Johnny Gaudreau during that 6-on-5. So the Jets hold on. They go to 6-3-1. The Flames drop to 4-4-1. and get to renew their rivalry with the Oilers pretty quickly here. But the shots tonight did favor Winnipeg in the first and second. 11-8 in the first, 12-6 in the second. In the third, Calgary outshoots them 17-5. So your final shots are 31-28 in favor of the Flames. Power plays, Calgary 0 for 4, Winnipeg 0 for 2. Riddick, 25 saves on 28 shots. Bressois, 29 saves on 31 shots. I thought Riddick was better tonight than in the previous game, but the result is a loss. So, yeah, we'll see what happens and if Bressois plays in the next game or not, because he played really well tonight. Bressois last season wasn't, very good as a backup for the Jets, but he's been pretty good so far this year. We'll see if he's able to keep that up. Should be interesting. Colorado. So the Avs and the Wild. The Avs minus a lot of players. And this is a storyline we saw last year. This is why Jared Bednar, for me, was one of the top coaches in the NHL, because we were dealing with an Avs team that was shorthanded quite a bit last year. And yet their record was really good when they were missing guys like McKinnon, Rantanen, Landeskog, just guys like that. Tonight they're just missing McKinnon and 5 other players. The Wild get a power play. Strong penalty kill, though, by the Colorado Avalanche. Talbot was tested and passed that process. Back and forth action then at around the 6-minute mark, where both teams were getting their chances. Grubauer denied Greenway. Greenway had a very good game. Avs rushed, delayed penalty, and power play out of that. So the Avs get their first power play. Heavy press, but Talbot kept it out. Avs get another power play. They don't score on it, but before the period is out, O'Connor scores from Sherwood and McCarr at 17:45. So that's the kind of depth scoring that would help a lot while McKinnon is out, and did help them tonight. It's 1-0 Colorado after 1. Second period, early power play for the Wild. It only managed 1 shot. Talbot robbed Rantanen. So remember, Rantanen had, an 8-game goal streak going, and now I think it's 2 in a row he hasn't had a goal. Was it 7 or was it 8? Anyways, so yeah. The thing is, Nichushkin then scores from Donskoy at 7:09. So there's that depth scoring again, made it 2-0 in favor of the Avs. But the shots were near even halfway through this period and halfway through the game. I thought Minnesota played them well. I don't think Minnesota's going to come out of tonight kicking themselves a whole lot. There was a fight that then led to a power play for the Wild, where they ended up with the man advantage for unsportsmanlike conduct on the Avs player, Compher. Weird. But power play goal scored by Kaprizov from Parisi and Mayhew at 13:05, and I really thought the Avs were going to kill that off, and then Kaprizov with a nice goal there. And then the Wild seemed to really feed on that goal. That goal really seemed to give them some confidence, and they played well the rest of the period. Third period, the Avs get a power play. Solid game for Grubauer. Very underrated goaltender in the NHL. Grubauer just puts up good stats and wins a bunch of games. Both teams defending well. Talbot stopped a Burakovsky shot. The Avs pressured with 8.5 minutes left. The Avs also had a 2-on-1 that was defended well. Talbot was unable to leave the net with 2 minutes left. So one thing Colorado was smart with was just keep it in their end. We don't have to worry about them pulling their goalie if we keep it at their end. And they were very good at it. In fact, the Wild iced the puck with 1 minute and 34 seconds left, which delayed Talbot coming out further. He finally got to exit the net with about 55 seconds left in the game. Minnesota not able to get it set up, not able to get the tying goal. They lose the game 2-1 and drop to 6-5, whereas the Avs now go to 7-3-1. So the Avs looking like a threat to be first in the division, as we might have expected. Shots were 12-11 Colorado in the first, 11-9 Colorado in the second, 8 apiece in the third. Final shots 31-28 in favor of the Avs. Minnesota 1 for 3 on the power play. Colorado 0 for 3. Talbot saves 29 out of 31 shots. Grubauer saved 27 out of 28. Very nice goaltending from both tonight. Both goaltenders acquitted themselves well, and I can't wait to see these teams play each other again, which they will. Every team on this board is going to play each other again. Ottawa, I don't know how to read this one for Ottawa. I guess it was the least lopsided of the games on this road trip. I guess there's some positives you can take from this. Stützle might have had his best game in the National Hockey League tonight, so that's a positive. Sens got an early power play in this, and I thought they had a much better start, to be honest. They were ahead 4-3 in shots, and then it stopped. It stopped dead in its tracks. Nurse scores from Barrie and McDavid at 9:42. And then Puljujarvi scored from McDavid and Barrie at 12:45. And that was 2 goals on, I think, 3 shots at that point. Like, of the last 3 shots, they had 2 goals. And then I think they had 3 goals on the most recent 5 shots when Draisaitl scores from Yamamoto at 14:29. And it wasn't a good goal. It was not a good goal. The announcer said it too on the replay, and I was like, yeah, you need Hogberg to stop that one. Draisaitl's a really good goal scorer, but from that angle, yeah, Hogberg needs to stop that. Rough night for the goaltending again for Ottawa, which has been a major story early in the season. This is a team that's now 1-8-1. They haven't had a win in their last 9. And it's starting to look like, how far is this going to go? I'll come back to how far this might go at the end of this year. So momentum was all with the Oilers now. They get Sens get a power play late, but we go to the second period with a 3-0 Oilers. Koskinen stopped a shot from Batherson. Hogberg then took a chance from Barrie and prevented it from going in. Power play for the Senators. Cahoon shot wide on a wide break, or on a fast break, and then Puljujarvi gets his second of the game, so he might be heating up for Edmonton as well. Bouchard and Chris Russell with the assists at 5:30. So Evan Bouchard in his first game this year for Edmonton gets on the board with an assist, and he was close to a goal in that third period too. It's not on the board, but he was close. The Oilers then got a power play. Hogberg, though, was better in the second period. Rough first period for him. I think he'd admit that, but in the second period and beyond, he was pretty good. Paquette would score from Chabot and Stützle at 12:06. That's Paquette's first goal, and it made it 4-1. There wasn't a lot of celebrating. Good. You don't want to see a lot of celebrating when your team's down by that much. The Senators pressed for another. Riley denied Puljujarvi the hat trick at their end of the ice. The Oilers got a power play, no shots. And then at the buzzer, Zach Kassian getting into it with Brady Tkachuk. I'm starting to think that with Tkachuk playing against a Tkachuk brother playing against Kassian 19 games this year, Kassian may completely lose his mind. This might be the season where Kassian just completely goes bonkers. And I'm here for it. I really, really am. If there was a third brother on a Canadian team, I'd be guaranteeing right now he'll lose it. Third period, Senators had a power play that started it. Stützle left the ice on the limp. He was okay. He stayed in the game. But blocking shots, he's finding out how painful the NHL truly is. 8 in a row where the Senators have allowed 4 or more goals. That's a recipe for disaster right there. Power play for the Sens. Good hard-nosed game for Stützle altogether. And then he gets a goal from Stepan and Zub at 19:31. So 29 seconds left in the game, and he scores a goal. But, of course, at that point, it's 4-2. They're not going to score 2 more. And so the clock winds down, and with about 4 seconds left, Tkachuk and Kassian kind of get into it. And then Kassian kind of went nuts. Like, he's at the Senators bench. He's arguing with, and Goodbranson really wanted to get at him. I think Goodbranson was willing to fight him. He was down for it. And yeah, Kassian just went nuts. And Kassian throughout the game was talking about his brother, and he was beaking off at him. You can see Tkachuk from the bench beaking off as well at him. And they're not done seeing Edmonton, but Kassian's going to see a lot of the Tkachuk brothers over the next couple of weeks. And again, I'm here for it. I'm looking forward to it. I think he's going to go completely insane. I really do. I think between Matt and Brady, I think he's going to go nuts. He may even be to the point where he starts thinking they're the same person by about the 7th or 8th game in a row where he's going to see them. But yeah, that was an entertaining finish, and I got to admit I got a chuckle out of it. Shots were 10-4 Oilers in the first, 10-9 Oilers in the second, 12-5 in favor of Ottawa in the third as the Oilers took their foot off the gas. Final shots, 25 shots each. Power plays, Ottawa 0 for 5 because it sucks. Edmonton 0 for 2 on their power play. Hogberg, 21 saves on 25 shots for him. And Koskinen saved 23 out of 25. He had a nice game after having a night off. So, yeah, for the Oilers, we'll see if they can get above 500. They're 6-6 now. And for the 1-8-1 Senators, their next 2 are against the Habs, 1 away and 1 at home. And then their next 3 after that, they're at home against Edmonton. So, yeah, Brady Tkachuk's going to get to know Zach Kassian pretty well over the next 10 days. I'm highly entertained. I think it's great. I think it's great for ratings. I think it's great for drama. and it's the kind of real, true hatred you can see in a game that just we don't have enough of it anymore. I mean, it's fun in hockey to see that where guys genuinely don't like each other. Always makes it more entertaining. So I'm glad that Cassian's out there being crazy and that the Kachuk brothers are ready to have at him for it. It's a good thing they don't both play on the same team, because I tell you, then Cassian really lose it, because he turn around and be like, I just fought you. The other one, you're the same person, I swear. All right, Anaheim and LA closed things out on this video. However, the last game of the night was this one. This one actually ended last. So Anaheim and LA. LA didn't deserve a point in this one, and yet they got close to getting one because Cal Peterson, kind of fantastic. LA was wearing their reverse retros. A, yes, they're beautiful. B, Cal Peterson's mask was fantastic. And I am all for making them a full-time third jersey next season. I think it might be time to retire the silver one and just go with that purple one as the full-time third jersey. It's gorgeous. Early shots were in favor of the Kings at 2-0. However, the next 5 went to the Ducks. That was the shot totals at 4 minutes and 30 seconds. And then just past the halfway mark, it's Danton Heinen at 10:07, scoring from Silverberg and Steele. And the defense on that goal was almost non-existent. I feel bad for Peterson because he did everything in his power tonight to win this one. He really did. And the defense on that goal was not good. Miserable period overall for the Kings. That's the one thing I can say. They had 4 shots. It was a miserable period of hockey for them. And they had 2 in the first 2 minutes and then 2 for the rest of the period. It was just not good. Third period, early. 17 seconds in. It's David Backes with his first of the year from Rowney and Delorier. Delorier continues this incredible scoring run he's been on, comparatively speaking, with most of his seasons. And so it's 2-0 for the Ducks early in the second period. And you kind of get this feeling like the Kings aren't getting 2, are they? The Kings were stuck in neutral and they'd already started line shuffling, so had to be rough for them tonight. Peterson then stopped a shot from Troy Terry, and then Kaliev in his first NHL game scores from Amadio and Doughty at 5:32. And so if you're a Kings fan and you're looking for the silver lining, his name's Kaliev. That could be good for them. Peterson was keeping it a 1-goal game. There was a cross-crease pass to Heinen, which just narrowly missed. The shots were 30-9 in favor of the Ducks 36 minutes into this game. 30-9. There's no way this game should have been 2-1 when the shots are 30-9. There was a post then for Iafallo, and Peterson held on to a chance from Backes late in that period. So you go to the third period, it's still 2-1. Early on, the Kings had a power play. Kaliev was on the second unit. So Kaliev, his first NHL game, he's thrown on the power play for the Kings. And he looked good. He did not look out of place. The Ducks had a 2-0 that missed. So that was probably stressful for Peterson, seeing 2 of them coming at him. Then there was a too many men on the ice penalty against the Kings, and so the Ducks get a power play out of that. Post for Henrique. So Adam Henrique's frustrations continue tonight. Peterson then robbed Comtois. He didn't look happy about that either. Raquel had a shot that went wide, and they've got Velarde playing with Kaliev. So this might be the plan, is to stick Gabe Velarde with Arthur Kaliev and try to get them to develop some chemistry together. And they look good. They were pretty close to connecting on some nice plays there. So we'll see if that stays through the next game or what they do. But if you can get Velarde and Kaliev together, that's a glimpse of the future if you're the LA Kings, which is important since the Kings' present is kind of all over the place. 1:40 left. They pulled the goaltender in the last minute. They end up allowing that empty net goal. It is Delorier, who adds to his incredible scoring totals to start the season. He's off to a great start. He had a goal and an assist tonight. I think he's back to being their leading scorer, I think. I know Getzlaf was their leading scorer with 5 points coming into this, so I think Delorier has 6 now. Not sure. But the Ducks go to 4-5-2, and the Kings drop to 3-4-2. So a rough go of it for the Kings. But for the Ducks, they get back on the winning side. And one of these California teams could very well stay in the hunt until the finish. I don't know if it's going to be San Jose, Anaheim, or LA, but they all have to play against each other. There's 16 games that the Ducks get against LA and San Jose. So if they can win, say, 12 of those, they have a much better chance of making the playoffs. Shots 15-4 in favor of Anaheim in the first, 18-7 Anaheim in the second. Both teams had 10 shots in the third as the Kings woke up. Final shots 43-21 in favor of the Ducks. Both teams only had one power play, failed to score on them. And Gibson saved 20 out of 21, quietly had a very good game. And Peterson saves 40 out of 42. So, yeah, it was a night of goaltenders, or it was a night where both teams couldn't score. Depends on how you look at it. All right, there you go. You guys are all set. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happen upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.